dangerous, ferocious, monstrous, deadly, vicious. All of these adjectives at one time or another have been used to describe pit bulls in the mainstream media. I spoke with Captain Brown of Brevard County Animal Services regarding this controversial subject, breed, and about breed-specific legislation. Now, when it comes to pit bulls or any of the bully breeds specifically, do you feel that breed-specific legislation is the way to go, or what are your feelings on that particular subject?
Breed-specific legislation doesn't work. First of all, a pit bull, what is that? I brought out my handy little reference guide by Random House. It's not a little publication off the wall. This is Random House. They've got the Staffordshire Bull Terrier and the Bull Terrier. Now, the pit bull came out of both of these breeds and became the American Staffordshire Terrier. So, exactly what is a pit bull? And if you have one, how much of it is a pit bull? 51%? 52%? The FWC, the Florida Wildlife Commission, says that you can have a wolf hybrid as long as it doesn't exceed, I think it's 75% wolf, you can have it. Okay? But they actually do DNA if they really get down to it. But for the run-of-the-mill dog catcher that we are, I'm not going to be able to do a DNA test to say you have a pit bull because it's 51% pit bull. It's illegal. So there's no real way to tell. Plus the fact the next thing that's going to happen is if I ban pit bulls, the next dog will be the Rottweilers. Because pit bulls aren't allowed. I need a bad dog to enhance my self-esteem, I guess. So I'm going to go out and get me a big Rottweiler. Next thing you know, I've got a Rottweiler epidemic. And then when that gets banned, and we go on and on and on from there. So they don't work. Miami-Dade tried it. They're the only county in the state that has the ban still in effect. Only because they grandfathered it in when they outlawed breed-specific legislation. It's actually in state statute. You can't discriminate against breeds. So, like I say, they grandfathered Miami-Dade in. But if you go to Miami-Dade County, there's a whole ton of pit bulls down there. So it just doesn't work. It's one of those non-workable solutions. Sounds great on paper. It plays well to the media, but it's something that just can't work because a lot of dogs. I have a U-Picket sheet that has about 30 dogs on it. It says circle the pit bull, and there's about, you give that to someone, they'll circle like 10 or 12. There's only one pit bull on the entire page, and they'll circle 10 or 12 different, because they all have this preconceived notion of what it is. The pit bull actually used to be called the nanny dog because people got them to watch over their children. They are very friendly, and the last, it really kind of tickled me when I was reading through this. The last page of both of these says, strong dog will need careful owner training to train them well. Careful socializing needing so they will mix well with other dogs. Very affectionate with people, not good with cats. Says it right there. Bull Terrier. Athletic dog needs plenty of stimulation. You definitely can't leave him alone to his own devices, or you won't have a home to come home to. Needs good early training. Not good with cats. Understand what you're buying when you're buying, folks. These people who run out and get a big dog of any type for protection are buying a gun and then not learning how to use it. They know how to load it, they know how to point it, they know how to make it go off, but they don't know how to clean it, they don't know how to make it safe, they don't know how to safely handle it. They'll get a big dog for whatever purpose they want a big dog for, and they don't learn all about the breed. The majority of pit bulls are sweethearts to people, but they will eat your cat in a heartbeat because it's just in their genes. They're genetically programmed to do the chase, the hunt, the seize type thing. And unless you train that dog from the beginning, you train that out of them. You say, no, that's not acceptable behavior. You're a pack leader. You're the adult. The smartest dog in the world is only as smart as a 2-year-old child. You have got to be able to outsmart a 2-year-old child. That's just bottom line. And you've got to be the leader of the pack. They have got to know that you are the dominant leader of the pack, and what you say goes. And there's no toleration for anyone breaking the rules of the pack. And if you do that, you end up with a great sweetheart of a dog. Half my staff have pit bulls. I mean, the dog is not a demon dog, but it does have certain characteristics that makes it bite a lot more news-making than if a Cocker Spaniel bit you. As a matter of fact, I think the Cocker Spaniel is like the second most leading dog bite dog in the world, and I think either a Pekingese or some other little purse dog is the first. You know, so pit bulls rank way down there in the number of bites, but the devastation they do when they do bite makes the headline. And so that's where, you know, they are trained to bite and hold. That's what they're trained for. And so you've got to train them to release, not to bite in the first place, but you have got to have that safety valve, that release mechanism. I had a flat coat retriever. His job was to retrieve. To get attention, he would go into my daughter's room, grab a stuffed animal, and go running through the house growling with it in his mouth because he got the attention he was looking for. And to break him of the habit, we started ignoring it. Then he would lay down in the corner and lay the little stuffed animal down and kind of look all dejected and kind of downtrodden because it wasn't working for him. So we established the fact that we know you're a retriever, you do a great job at it, but we don't need it right now. You know, every once in a while we would go ahead and play the game with him. Hey, give me that back and do a little chase thing. But you have got to train the dog, socialize the dog, and be aware that you can't put him on a chain in the backyard, feed him once a day, and never socialize him, never even see him again until, you know, the next thing you know, he's bit the neighbor's child. And unfortunately, a lot of people do that to a dog. They're great while they're puppies, and then they grow up to be, I mean, I'm sure Ted Bundy's mother thought he was the most beautiful baby in the world.
So then it seems to me that it's more the good ownership aspect in any breed across the board. What do you feel would classify as a good owner?
Okay, just like we mentioned the 2-year-old child, look at yourself as a parent, a pack leader. You are a parent and also a pack leader. You are a parent in so much as you need to provide nutrition, you need to provide medical care, you need to provide socialization, but you're a pack leader. You need to provide discipline, you need to provide order, you need to make sure that your authority is there. So it's a lot like being a parent. Being a good pet owner is not very far away from being a good parent. It's the same sort of thing. They will. Kids and animals are like rubber balls. They'll bounce until they hit the ceiling. If you raise the ceiling, they'll keep bouncing until they hit the ceiling again. And if you continue to raise the ceiling on them, they'll continue to get away with it and go and go and go. So you have to establish the boundary. You have to tell them what is acceptable and what's not. You have to socialize them. One of the reasons you didn't bring your dog today, thank you, was because of the uniform. Those are things that dogs key on. The smallest of things. If you come to a doorway, you've got your dog on a leash, you come to a doorway, pull that leash up tight, make that dog sit, and you walk through the door first, and he walks through second. When you get ready to eat dinner, everybody else sits down, has their dinner, he gets his dinner last. He needs to know his place in the pack, and it's little things like that. Believe it or not, animals keep a little scorecard. If they get away with mouthing your arm at 6 months old, then the next thing you know, at 8 months old, they're grabbing with a little more teeth and being a little, and the next thing you know, you're gotten bitten by your own dog because you've allowed this behavior to start and escalate, and they have tested the boundary. The first time it hurts, corrective measures. And then they know, whoops, that's as far as I can go. I'm going no further. This is it. And it's that way every time. It's consistent. Never let it go beyond that. You always have to do that. Like I say, to be a good dog owner, you need to be a good parent, and because that's basically what you are.
Unfortunately for all of Brevard County's bully breeds, Animal Services does not have law enforcement powers. But Brevard County Sheriff's Office does, and I had the opportunity to discuss this matter with Democratic Sheriff candidate and longtime deputy Adrienne Moss Beasley. Now, when it comes to breed-specific legislation like they still have on the books in Miami-Dade County, where certain breeds of animals can actually be euthanized within a 24-hour period, what are your thoughts or feelings on that in regard to having this discrimination towards certain breeds because of certain things in the media, such as dog bites on just certain breeds?
Well, I believe all animals have the right to live. And I don't believe that one particular species of animals, such as pit bulls or bull terriers or anything like that, should be singled out in reference to euthanization. I don't believe that should be the case.
Now, do you think that certain breeds are just inherently more aggressive or more dangerous than other breeds, or do you think that it's more on how they're raised?
I believe it's how they're raised, how the owners train them, and how the owners actually treat them. Because I've over my 21 years with the sheriff's office, I've come in contact with a lot of dogs that the sheriff's office uses as well. And it usually is up to that person who owns that dog in reference to how violent they become or how friendly they are.
In regard to the current laws on the books, as we've been discussing,
Yes.
do you think that right now that they're harsh enough to deter the abuse and neglect that you hear a lot about in the media?
I don't believe so. I've gone to a lot of calls during my tenure as a Brevard County Sheriff's Deputy, and I've seen some incidents where the animals were gravely malnutrition in reference to the way they looked. Some had been abused, and I don't think that we enforce the laws um, effectively enough to make sure that we find out who those owners are of those animals, so we can bring them to justice for the way they treated their animals.
So do you think it's more along the lines of getting more of the community involved
Not
in?
not not only the community, but the sheriff's office and also with our animal control division with Brevard County. We have to make sure that we're doing a much better job protecting the animals. So those owners who have those animals who are not taking care of them, then they need to be brought to justice and made accountable of what they did or did not do.
Bottom line, here in Brevard County, it is the dog owner's responsibility to maintain control of your dog. If you're having problems with your dog of any breed, reach out to Animal Services or any of the local rescue groups and ask for contact information of a qualified trainer. And on a final note, at the beginning of this segment, I showed pictures of dogs attacking. The question is, how many of you noticed that there were no pit bulls? This is Brandy Madison from Brevard's Best News.